Hey everybody, how you doing? Good morning to you. Friday morning, another week almost in the books. Hope it's going all right with you. So, for this little lecture today, number one, I want to make it known that I am going to try not to go a lot. And as you may or may not be able to imagine, I am mortified by the idea of, watching these after I create them and post them and stuff. As much as that's probably like advantageous of me to do, for the sake of, I did it right there, for the sake of student sanity. As I was setting up the last lecture, I just kept it playing, like whatever, and yeah, that the mortification that I had anticipated, I definitely was feeling that, but I could not believe that how often I was going like in between. It was just awful, and I have to apologize for making you endure the pauses in what I'm saying by having to listen to that noise. It was very annoying to me, and I can only imagine. I'm me, and yeah, okay, I don't mind. I know my flaws, and I've come to grips with them up to a certain extent. So I can get a laugh out of it, and I can air it out as like a self-deprecating little icebreaker to open up our talk. But I'm sure, and I know at the end of the day that it might have hit you, it might have cut you a little deeper as far as how annoying listening to that noise was over and over. Okay, though. Yeah, I'm going to try to cut down on that as much as possible. Again, very sorry. I am aware of the problem. And I guess gracious students here, nobody called me out on it or anything. So I guess that's nice of you. But I'm going to try to, I noticed it in myself, so I'm going to try and cut down on that. A few things to go over with you that I wanted to go over with you leading up to writing your essay. I think these are very important considerations for you to have in your head while you're making that its final thing before submission. And one of them has to do with the way that you write, like the logic and the rationale that you're sort of narrating or analyzing or summarizing, whatever the case might be. Want to make you a little more self-aware of that stuff. Not that, as a class, you're struggling with this, but I do think it plays in nicely and is a good way for you to think about, the more subtle details and the more subtle implications of, the things that you're trying to express and the way that you're trying to express them to again, circle back, Robert Anton Wilson, How to Read, How to Think. He had mentioned the uncritical inference tests or quizzes that he liked to, give to students every now and then. And I figured that we should go over one of those as well. I think the value of them is pretty apparent. But so this is attached to the lecture. It's the uncritical inference test. It's not like really a test or anything in the sense that it's going to be graded. It's just like a, almost like like a horoscope quiz or something. You find out which character from Game of Thrones you most overlap with or something. Okay. Uncritical inference tests. Now, the thing with this to keep in mind, okay, this is scaled way down into a very simplistic scenario and a very elementary scenario, and it's very elementarily presented with the text and the writing style and stuff. and it's meant to do that purposely. So I think you'll see what I mean the further we get into it. But there's a lot of like nitpicky details that we pour over on this little, this little scenario story here. And it's not so much nitpicking and getting to the meaning of this particular thing. It's a matter of the sort of logic in which we're able to pick over this very simple scenario is something that you should refer back to when trying to, cover your bases as far as not having uncritical inferences arise in your writing. The less, the better. You want critical inferences, hypercritical inferences, or even something I like to call the sublime inference. You are wholly accountable in the moment and in the craft of writing the sentence of the limitations of your perspective, and taking that in fairly, accounting for it fairly, and also accounting for whatever you're trying to argue with or against, the limitations, but also the positivity that might be present too. Just like you don't. I don't want to make it too confusing, but you don't want to. You're not trying to fit in the whole world, with each sentence. It's just a matter of you don't want, when you carve out a statement or a sentence with words, it's very easy to leave or to make have certain assumptions or presumptions hanging out there with whatever it is you're trying to write. Okay, so that's the preface. You'll see what I mean when we get to this specifically. Excuse me, allow me one more sip here. Okay, so we'll go through the instructions together here first. These, there was two, but we're only doing one. So this uncritical inference test is based on the work of William V. Haney. Carefully read the brief story which follows. Assume that all of the information presented in the story is definitely accurate and true. Next, read the statements following the story. If the statement is definitely true based on the information presented in the story, check the true column. If the statement is definitely false based on the information presented, mark it false. If the true or false answer cannot be determined based on the information presented, check not sure. You may refer back to the story whenever you wish, but you must answer the questions in order. And once answered, you cannot go back and make changes. Okay, like that last part's just for, like, they give these in labs, like psychology labs and stuff like that, and try to tally the scores and stuff. That's more along those lines. We don't have to, if we want to make changes, whatever. Okay, here's the little scenario. Stephanie's CD. Stephanie and her friend walked into the music store after lunch. Stephanie wanted to buy the new CD by the group. No girls allowed. There was only one other person in the store when Stephanie and her friend arrived. Stephanie asked, "How much is this CD?" Stephanie's friend said, "Here, let me see it. I don't think he heard you. This tag says it costs $11.99. Okay, see? Simple enough right there. So based on all that information that we've just been given, let's see how well we can answer some very simple questions about it. Number one, Stephanie wanted to buy a CD. True, false, not sure. So with that one, look to the second sentence of the scenario. Stephanie wanted to buy